Practice. I hope you've all been practicing very hard. All right? This is my practice face. I'm going to put that right up here, and he's going to be looking down at everybody. Okay. Anyway, I want you all to practice. Welcome to lesson number 8, rhythm guitar course. I know you've all been practicing, and I'm going to check up on you every week. So, last lesson, you know that we talked about the notes on the E string. We introduced the concept of the moving bar chord now that we have that's available up and down the E string. And we're going to do that same thing today, but we're going to talk about another voice, another chord that we can play. We've got the A form that was an open A chord that we learned when we learned all our open chords. We learned the A chord, right? And that's a great chord, and it has the A, open A is the root, but what happens when we want to play in a different key and we want to use the same voicing? Well, this is what I'm going to show you today. Okay? There's the open A chord, but check it out. You bring your third fret, or your third finger up a fret, and you simply put your first finger down to replace the open string that would have been here, and then you've got a great movable bar chord. Right? Just like we had the E chord. The same thing now works on the A chord. And this is going to be our movable bar shape from a 5th string root. This is a 6th string root chord. This is a 5th string root chord. Okay? So this is really going to enhance our ability to play a lot of chord progressions now, because now we've got 2 different voicings or chord shapes that we can play along the 5th and the 6th string now. Okay? So just check that out again. The A chord becomes a movable bar chord, and now we've got these major chords up and down the neck. And you'll see guys all the time in videos and concerts playing shapes like this all night long. Sometimes you'll even just see him playing just the 2 notes, not even the rest of the notes above it. Okay, so those are called power chords, and we're going to talk about those in other lessons. Now, you'll also know, just like we had before, we had major that also became minor, and that's no problem. As you remember, when we took our A chord to make it minor, we simply brought one of the notes that was the 3rd and made it a minor 3rd by putting it here, right? And we're going to do the same thing to make a bar chord shape here. We simply have to just put this note here, and now we achieve a minor chord. And that works out really well. So we've got major and minor now. And we've got, just like we had before, major and minor. Okay, how cool is that? We get all these chords with just a simple knowledge of our open string chords now that are becoming movable bar shapes, right? Or, okay. So, along with that information now, we have to make sure that we also know the names of the notes on the A string, okay? So, let's take a look at the open A, and knowing the information about where the half steps are between B and C and E and F, we know that the open A would now allow the B note to be right here, because there's a whole step between A and B, and then the next natural note is C, which is right there. Okay, so there's our first half step. Okay, so A, B, and C, or A major, B major, C major. Okay, we go up another whole step and we get the root at the 5th fret, D, and we can make a D major chord. And then up another whole step, the 7th fret, we get an E note. Okay, and if we continue, remember the half step occurs between E and F, so there is where the F note is, right there. And then a whole step above that, we get to the G, and then a whole step above that, we get to the octave of the open A that we had down there. So you should be exploring different ways to memorize these notes up and down the A string and the E string. Okay, so that's a really important skill to be able to memorize, is the notes up and down all the strings eventually. But right now, let's just focus on the E and the A string. Okay, So we might even find a way of doing that if I put a metronome on, and I'll just do that by putting up a metronome here. I'm going to call out some names of some notes, and I want you to just play along with me when I call the name of the note, okay? So how about if I do something like this, and I say, all right, let's play the B note on the E string and quarter note. So it would be like this: B, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now the B on the A string is going to be right here. Okay, you follow what I'm going to do? Okay, good. Let's go to the G on the E string. Okay, how about the G on the A string? Great. Okay, how about the E on the A string? Excellent. Okay, how about the E on the E string? We could play the 12th fret or the open string. Okay, how about the D on the A string? Sorry. Okay, how about the D on the E string? How about the A on the E string? Or the open A? Okay, let's go to G on the E string and G on the A string. We'll go back and forth. Let's do that some more. Let's just go back and forth now. Okay, how about the C on the E string and the A string? Okay, how about the B on the A string and the E string? Okay, how about the A on the E string and the open A? Or the fretted A? How about the low E and the fretted E? Okay, so that might be too fast for you to do at home, especially if you just learn those notes. So I understand if it's too fast. Slow it down. Write the names of the notes in just a random order on a piece of paper, and just practice finding those in a quarter note tempo to see how well you can pick that up. Okay, so that's another good exercise for you to do. Okay, so let's take a look at our progression right on the top of the board there, and I'm going to have us play that with our little drum machine here, and we're going to play these new chords that we just learned and play along with the voicings that we just found. Okay, so let's just go ahead and review the progression before we actually play it. So now that we know our major chord here, if we have to play a C major chord, then we know now that that's the C note, so it's simply going to be right there. Okay, we also know how to play minor chords, and the next 2 bars is a D minor chord, so that's going to be this form right here. Same type of shape, but now minor. Okay, and we go to the next 2 bars, and we go all the way up to F minor right here. Right? And that's easy to play because we use the same minor form here on the F minor. And then we go back to a major shape on the last, or almost to the end. G major, same major shape we used on C. And then as our first flat note in a progression, we're going to find an E flat. Now we know that this is C, this is D. So E flat is going to be in between D and E, which is going to be the 6th fret. And that's also a major chord. And then we go back to F right here. Okay, so the whole progression is now going to sound like this. And then E flat, F. Okay? So all these chords were capable from these voicings right here. I played all of them with this voicing, moved up to the bar chord shape that was major right here, and then also the same bar chord shape with the minor voicing as it's spelled out. Okay, so now we're going to play along with the band, and I'm going to have my friend Jin playing bass with me, so here we go. Okay, so now we're going to play along with the progression that you can download from the PDF files that you can see on screen. Okay.